Oh, good. Hello, that mic's working. All right, so we're not gonna wait. We're gonna get started right away. This is how the show starts. Starts at 1 o'clock on the dot. And 3 minutes late. We're just gonna get started right now. Okay, that was an actual intro. You like that? I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. I really hope that you can hear me okay. I like this mic as opposed to the headphones. Um, and off the top of the show, I'm a bit more organized than it might seem, and I'm really hoping that I can get comfortable because I'm worried that the mic isn't picking me up enough, and so I don't want to like lean back in my chair and relax because then the mic's not going to come with me. I was going to hold it in my hand, but I'm going to risk it and hope that this is going to suffice. Let's get not get started, but let's get some stuff going. So yeah, the show's still here, still happening. I am going to. Okay, so I have some good news, and I'm gonna get to it in a second. I don't have it in my rundown, but essentially, one thing I was concerned about was announcing what charity I wanted to raise money for with my live stream in November before knowing for sure that it was a charity that worked with the platform I was working with. And it is, I found out. So, um, I'm still going to make sure because, okay, pardon me. The issue I have in terms of my live stream is that I got the game for my console, and the console can easily do a Twitch stream. However, I don't stream on Twitch, I stream on YouTube. And due to that, I use my PC. Um, I'm pretty sure that if push comes to shove, I can give up one of my monitors to run the HDMI from my Xbox into my tower and then basically record or stream off of a one monitor setup. I mean, I that wouldn't be ideal because I suppose it wouldn't be that bad. I still have audio visual with the camera feed set up. I can probably just run some tests and get the stream kind of set up to work on one monitor because I only have two ports. So right now I have two monitors, each HDMI going into each HDMI port, and I don't have a third port for another connection. I don't. Um, I don't really technically need it for work, and this is technically a computer for work. And that's most important. So I'm not gonna. I don't want to toy with the configuration either. Like I barely check personal email on this computer because I don't want to risk. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I'm not eager to like. I bought this computer. It's mine. Like I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it, but I still treat it like the company. You know what I mean? So yeah. So to that end, you know what? I forgot. Me me go ahead and I gotta find some more platforms to because I don't want to go back to Twitter, but I did recently put Instagram back on my phone. I didn't get rid of it, but I didn't have it on my phone. So let me just get the URL and we'll go. But so yeah, I'm gonna have that started pretty soon, and we will get the closer to setting up technical stuff for the Dragon Age the Veilguard live stream. Um, I am really bad about managing the. Let's try it. Managing the stream while it's going. And actually, since I did go ahead and reinstall Instagram, it might be easier to. Let's see here. This is my managing the live stream. I'm gonna mute that bad boy. And now I'm the one. I'm watching me. That's awesome. But what I wanted to do was, here we go. I want to add in, here we go. Not playlist. It's not made for kids. Show more. It does not. Come on, where are you? Tags. No, it's other. It's like if you want to. Let's see here. What does it say here? Why did you? Learn more. I want the link to, because this dude Jackdaw is like has been doing a lot of cool content for years for Dragon Age, and right now he has really good video. And I don't. Well, maybe I will. Maybe if we get to the end of the night, I will. But I was gonna just try and like link to his video, not watch it, because I'm gonna watch some other stuff tonight. Here's this link. Copy video link, and now let's try to do all of this without going on my phone. But see, Threads is hard to log into because I don't even know my passwords for stuff. Seriously, my phone, remember my fingerprint. Wait, is this me? This is not me. See, you know what I'm saying? It's like log in, do Instagram, and since I'm back with Instagram, maybe this will just work for me because it's Google. It does not work for me because it's just Google. Let's see. Will this work? Oh my God, am I about to get back into Threads on my desktop? No. Nope. I have to figure it out another day. See, I'm not prepared. Not ready for prime time, even on YouTube. Okay, so not now. Give me this. Look at this unprofessionalism. Unprofessionalism is my new favorite word. Now I gotta find the link. Where is it at? There it is. Grab that. Copy it. And go back over to Threads. Threads. There we go with the plus sign. Now what's new? Taking time. Oh, see, can't even spell right. Taking time out of my stream. No, that says Steam. See? Stream to attract you. That sounds sexy. And then I'm going to add my hashtag. And then, bam. Big picture of Atomic. A comic book character I created that I wrote an issue of and sold on Amazon, and it was terrible. Terrible comic book. The art wasn't terrible. My art isn't terrible. My writing is bad. That's the truth. Okay. Now, what were we doing? We were doing a podcast about dumb stuff and then falling asleep. All right. Okay. So this one is going to be just today's events. And today, top of the show, today's events. Today was the season finale of the one show with the people in it chasing rings. Yeah, there you go. That show. That's not the show. That is not the show. This is an image from something else. She's on the show. I just found pictures that were like Creative Commons. Couldn't get in trouble for them. So these are my thoughts on mostly the episode, because this is my first time like weighing in or whatever. But I'll also give my because I want to check out a few things while I have the time. All in all, my thoughts on Rings of Power so far is it's really good. I mean, uh, yeah, I really like the Lord of the Rings movies. Full disclosure, I read The Hobbit, and then I read Lord of the Rings not too long after. And once Tom Bombadil rescued Frodo and the crew from the tree, like you saw happen in this show, that happened. That happened. That sequence where the tree had ate Gandalf. Like if you read Fellowship of the Ring, while they're leaving the Shire to go meet Aragorn at that little hamlet or whatever, they run into Tom Bombadil, and Tom Bombadil rescues them from the tree, and like it's a whole thing that Tom Bombadil does that. He rescues them, and then they break out, and you never see him, to my knowledge, again. But there's a whole thing about Tom Bombadil and like the Silmarillion and other stuff. But it was so like, what is this that I stopped reading the book. Like I that's where I left off. It was so weird to watch the show and see Tom Bombadil rescue Gandalf and go, okay, because I literally was like, I'm out, Joe. I was done with this, and this is hard to explain because like my favorite book is the Iliad, so you really gotta like drag it out for someone whose favorite book is like an ancient Greek Bible. For me to be like, I can't do it. I'm out of here with these damn trees and Tom Bombadil. I'm out. I'm out. And I never finished The Lord of the Rings. I just couldn't do it no more. So like watching the movies for me was like new shit. Like I knew about The Hobbit because The Hobbit is like, it's not a different book, but it's definitely like focused on something more tightly than The Lord of the Rings, which is like a lot more going on and a lot more to explain, for better or for worse. But in terms of the show, because I don't know, like I like the movie and I love the lore of it all, and it's all like great. Playing D&D, I'm adjacent to it. I think it's the best way to describe my understanding of the fantasy of it all. So there's a lot of reverence and respect for it. But in terms of like deep knowledge, I am not your Huckleberry. Well, I'll tell you that much. So like that's my perspective going into whether or not I think the show is good, and also whether or not you should listen to me about my opinion on the show. To be honest, but you know it is what it is. The first thought was from this episode was King Durin died. Like that was kind of hard. Like I always thought that one of the more difficult tasks in live action were making the dwarves not look comical in terms of when they were like fighting and stuff. And Peter Jackson kind of did a really good job with one casting like Peter Davies, like one of the all-time greats, you know. And then on top of that, just the special effects and stuff, Gimli was a formidable dude. And then I watched the newer ones, the Hobbit ones. Hello, viewer. How's it going? I watched the Hobbit movies, and I'm more like, I thought that it was strange to take the one book that was so short and make three movies, but it is what it is. You know, and I don't think I really got into all of them, but it didn't feel like, I saw the action sequences. They nailed it as far as like the dwarves. It didn't look comical. It really whoop ass. And so that kind of carried over into this series. They did a really good job making it look believable that the dwarves could be so powerful. How do you feel about Nick Gur's performance in the show? Huh. I need to see who that guy is. Just to, you know, because that's a strange name, isn't it? Can you hear me okay? Just out of curiosity. I see what you did there. Huh. Images. Ah. Hey, well, that's cool. Huh. Unless I'm getting something wrong, maybe. No, I'm spelling that right. Hey, I got my first like. Did I though? I don't want to be like, like. I don't want to jump the gun. Maybe this is. There is a dude named Nick Gurr. It says no AJ Brown, no Smitty, no Lane Johnson, no real chance of winning. That can't be him. He wasn't on Rings of Power. There's this guy here. Let's see here. Oh, let's see. Maybe he means this minor dude from LinkedIn, Coaldale, Pennsylvania. Probably not. Here's the guy on Instagram. Introvert, masquerading as extrovert. A big RuPaul fan, maybe. I don't think that guy was on Rings of Power. So, and now he's gone. That was cool. That was nice. It was nice that he had time to stop by and share that. Now I gotta figure out how to remove the stuff. Okay, let's see here. Chat capture chatbot. Let's see if I can't go in there and do a little maintenance, maybe. Oh, hello everyone. Oh, those are like the test ones. I need to. Let's see here. How do I remove it? I guess. Huh. I guess always show messages. We'll do that. There we go. So, well, since I'm watching live, but we had a racist, and that was a thing. Now, what I found most fascinating about that was the need to game the system to spell it out wrong. You know, so cool. So, anyway, where was I? Let's see here. King Durin did the whole, like, it kind of reminded you of Gandalf when he fought the Balrog, like, that was cool. I like the precision of the Balrog clashing weapons with the dude. And there was something cool also about, like, um, hmm, how spry he was without the ring. Like he was really that powerful. I really appreciated that. Um, Also in that episode, like I like how Galadriel. I like the use of plot armor. Like there's one sequence where she has like all these like civilians with her, and it's like chaos, and it's like, but if you stick with her, you're gonna be okay. It reminded me of Rick and the fortune cookie episode. You know what I mean? Like so, like that was kind of cool to see her kind of take advantage of the plot armor. Let's see here. Oh, so I do have that image of Shadows of Mordor, and it's in there because I had a limited number of uses, and so um, I left it because every time I see Celebrimbor, I think of what a shame like Shadow of Mordor is because like that game is really cool in some regards, but it's a little anti-consumer in a lot of other ways. And maybe in future episodes, maybe I'll talk about like how anti-consumer it is. Um, so there's that because it could have been a great game, but they did some weird stuff. So every time I see Celebrimbor in this show, I think about that. Um, but I really think that, and this is my overall analysis of this season and the last season, and I'm assuming another season to come. And this is why I wanted to start off by explaining that I've only read The Hobbit and that I'm not aware of the source material. And you know what? I'm really glad that racist guy popped on here because we're gonna check out some of these weirdos making these videos and see about it. So it was kind of nice of that guy to come on and kind of tee me up to see what the racists think. Okay, so my whole thing about what's so cool about this is if you only are aware of the films, if you're only aware of just the extra media from the Wikipedia page, and you didn't read the books and you didn't read the Silmarillion and on and on and on, then who the fuck are those guys in the first 10 minutes of the movie? Who is Isildur? Who is his father? Who is fucking Sauron? If you think about it for a second, in terms of movie bad guys, he is really like nowhere to be seen. As a bad guy, his whole deal is standing in front of the fucking and he doesn't say anything. You see him whooping ass in the battlefield, he don't say shit. And then he's a giant, angry ass eyeball for like 3 movies, and then he dies. And he never, I don't think, ever utters a word other than, you know what I mean? Like, that's as good as those films are. They got off the finish line without having a real definitive bad guy. Like, for real. They had enemies galore, you know, but like the main bad guy is the wizard from Wizard of Oz, pretty much. So this series kind of gets you to the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie because you were introduced to a bunch of characters who you were told are extremely pivotal, who then immediately die, and one of them is the main villain. So, in that regard, the show is brilliant. And that's I think my take. That's my take. That's why the show works for me, because I only read The Hobbit. And there it is. For that racist guy, I found my short, because that's what I'm going to talk about too. I don't think I can sustain doing this show at 1 o'clock every night of the week. Today was my day off, and I lost it. I got up this morning, I ran one errand, I came back home, and did not wake up for hours. Like, I can't. I'm 46 years old. That shit is dead. I cannot. If I'm here now, I gotta be asleep then. So I do want to raise the money for charity. I don't want to do a charity thing and it's like nothing. Like, what did you do it for? So that is still a driving force behind doing a podcast. But I think that once we're on the other side of that this podcast will be a weekly thing. And if my next week I'm as tired as I was this week, then it'll be a weekly thing before the stream, because there's no point if I can't get anything done during the day on my days off because I'm just too tired. So also, like, and just before I started recording tonight, I have an idea that I think I can like basically get that Friday show to be kind of dope, because it'll give me time to kind of piece together, because while I'm doing this, I'm figuring out what segments I like doing and what's fun to do, and then I'll have a week to do them like straight up. And then when I do the live thing on Friday, I'm just watching the videos I made throughout the week. You know what I'm saying? It was nice because I'm going by my notes. It was nice because the episode kind of is paced interesting in a way. Okay, so the episode prior, the most underwhelming, disappointing part of the series so far was the battle sequence in the episode prior to this, because it feels like they ran out of extras. And for this to be the most expensive show of all time, that was weird. And it kind of also explains why that one episode of Game of Thrones was essentially in the dark, because in the episode, there's like these three armies. Well, not exactly, not three armies, but there's three powers. There's the elves, there's Sauron, and then there's the orcs. And the orcs and the elves are kind of okay. The orcs are attacking Arendelle, and the elves are interceding. But there's a lot of complicated stuff because Galadriel is kidnapped. The leader of the Sauron is up to no good. Like it's a tough situation, and I felt like everything they're talking about, what's at stake, their bargaining posture is rendered meaningless when in the final sequence, it's like four dudes versus an army. And I don't think it was supposed to be like that. Okay, we got another viewer. So let's see who it is this time. Because last time was an adventure. So, hello, viewer. Welcome to the podcast. Let's see how this goes. All right. So essentially, and I lost my thought that fast, but essentially, when the final sequence happens in like the big confrontation, the big final fight, it's like the king of the elves, Elrond, our main dude Arendelle, and a few other elves, and it's like, wait a minute, I understand that there's split forces, but aren't the elves fighting the orcs? So when the king shows up, where else are his forces at? Like, it was a little confusing as to why they were. Or okay, I hate that person just left, but at least they didn't like drop off a fucking from Mein Kampf or whatever. So I'll take that, you know. So I it was a little weird to have so few elves there in that sequence, compounded by the fact that so many people in that sequence survive somehow and inexplicably survive. Because even though I didn't want my man Arendir to die, I no longer understand elf science or how what it means to get stabbed. You know, like I don't know, because I thought he was stabbed, like sufficiently stabbed, and then he showed up in this episode like, nah, I'm good. I'm good enough to just run around and be concerned for the welfare of others without any apparent tending to the stab wound I suffered that looked to be he died. Like we were all like, oh, he died, you know. So I don't know. That episode was a tough one, you know, in terms of just where'd the money go. I feel like there should have been a dog with a mustache hiding someplace, you know, because where'd the money go for that last sequence? Other than that, though, the show is like I don't know what to do with the level of complexity. And again, we're gonna go check out. I found one video earlier. I'm gonna go, you know, take a look. I'm a little less interested in doing that now since the gentleman came on and did the racism. So, but we might. Okay, before we get to that, I did have one final takeaway that I maybe have to scroll down on my notes. I do want to make an elf character based on Arendir for the Veilguard. The playthrough I'm gonna do for the live stream is supposed to be the character based on the character for. Okay, it's accounted for, so we'll see. I feel like having a elf paladin, not paladin. It's for having an elf grey warden off the rip with a elf grey warden as a cast member is I don't know if I'm ready for that level of redundancy yet, because you do want to do that in this particular game because it gives you some dialogue stuff, so it's worth it, but maybe not right away. My main character, I don't know yet for the Veilguard, but that's neither here nor there. I do want to get elf though based on Arendir. Oh my gosh, Arendir from Rings of Power for sure. The other thing, speaking of like most of the complaints about the lore, not knowing exactly how it all works. In a nutshell, the events that take place in Rings of Power, the show, are heavily condensed to take place over a shorter period of time compared to the amount of time they take place in the books. That is the best I can do for like an analysis of how they decided to conceive of the show. Now, that made me think of Sam Raimi and the Spider Man movies that he did, including the somewhat unfortunate Spider Man 3. Early on in my comic book fandom, before I got my foot in the first comic book shop, I got a book from the library about the history of Marvel Comics written by Stan Lee. And it had a whole section on Spider Man. So the book I was holding had been written in like the mid to late 80s, and it was talking about the eras of Spider-Man, and it talks about how the character first started out, what he was like in the 60s, that's when he first started out, in the 70s and the 80s, and how the character progressed and how the supporting cast members changed around him. And when you look at the decades of stories and progression for the character, and you go back and watch the Sam Raimi movies, what he basically did was condense like 30 years of progression into like one and a half, two movies. So he gets Peter out of high school into his adult life pretty quickly, and also brings his supporting cast with him more or less. Like, I think in those original films, you kind of lose Flash Thompson, who doesn't really make the transition into the cast as an adult. I don't think that actor, who's a actor, I don't think he's in like the later movies is the more mature best friend Flash Thompson. You did lose him, but I think you also instead you had a deeper kind of relationship with Harry Osborn in the films, so his transition is more front and center. And again, it kind of takes all of that storytelling for the Spider-Man mythology and kind of in a really, I thought it was really artfully done for Spider-Man 1 and 2 and even 3 in terms of the world building, getting it all condensed. Coming away from Rings of Power, that's kind of how I felt like they did. They took all of that and they condensed it into something that, for someone who's uninitiated, who doesn't understand all of the lore, like really understand it, I was able to digest this. Now, if I go in for the next 2 or 3 weeks, read all of the Lord of the Rings books, am I going to be pissed? Hell, I don't know. I'm not reading the Lord of the Rings books, though. I can tell you that for goddamn sure. So, now, let's see. That's it for the Lord of the Rings, for the Rings of Power finale. My full analysis is that, like, it gives you, someone who's only aware of the films, a deeper understanding of most of the important figures in the first 5 minutes of the movie who die in that initial battle, including the main bad guy, which is fascinating for me that they figured that was necessary. This is kind of like Rogue One for fantasy in that regard, because like I said, my viewer just got here. Hey viewer, I was saying that this dude right here, as a bad guy, if all you know about is the movies, has like some urges. And I keep losing viewers. That's okay though. That's okay. I'm gonna take it. So, let's see. Do I want to try and find this video? Because, man, I kind of do. Let's watch a little YouTube. Okay. So, we're gonna go. There we go. We're gonna look for Rings of Power. Now, of course, this is my algorithm, and so these are, for the most part, channels I'm a fan of. So, Think Story, I don't know how to add you to this. Sorry, I don't even want to put you in this, I feel like. But Think Story, I really like Think Story. Emergency Awesome, not as much because sometimes I can't tell if they're going to spoil some stuff. Screen Crush, yeah. Let's see here. Like, lately, I've been getting a mixed bag. But when it comes to Rings of Power, I tend to get more of the hateful stuff where they're all mad. And I feel like, of course, now that I'm on it, I found, wait, here we go. The woke critic says the Rings of Power is a masterpiece. And I'm so, like, afraid that this is like a trick. So I'm going to watch it on my own later and see what that's about. Because I don't know if I would call it a masterpiece per se. I don't know if you need to. I'm cool with saying it was really, really good. I enjoyed this. Don't show me my own stuff. I am not that vain. I am that vain. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Let's see. It's all meaningless drivel. And this guy, 33 hours. It's 3 hours. I feel bad when I make a video that is like an hour and a half. He has 20,000 views though, and I'm working on kind of coaxing someone who just snuck in. I see you. You snuck in. It's okay though. But I don't know if I want to put this guy on here. I don't know, because I feel like I'm not supposed to, even though I see people like do the thing all the time where they're like, look at this douchebag and his videos he makes, and then like there's a whole thing. But man, I don't have the bandwidth for all that. And I know I kind of want to see what one of these dudes has to say, like live. Oh, here we go. This dude, he says he hates this. All right, so it's a short. All right, let me see what. All right, here we're gonna go. We're gonna go and we're gonna put this bad boy on, and we're going to cut the slideshow off because we're done with it now. All right, so let's hopefully our audio's going on for this. Where's my sound? Wait, there we go. All right, so what's he saying?
At least it's pretty to look at, right? In the Rings of Power Season 2, Sauron returns in a new form as Anatar, deceiving the elves to forge more Rings of Power. Galadriel and Elrond attempt to thwart his plans while dealing with internal conflicts among the elves. Meanwhile, the dwarves face challenges in Khazad-dûm, and various threats emerge across Middle-earth. I know, it's popular to hate this show, and I for one strongly dislike the first season. That said, I didn't hate this season, but I sure as shit didn't love it. The visuals, as expected, are stunning. The cinematography, the setting, the music, the set design, and the CGI are all top-notch. I do, however, still have similar complaints about this season as I did the previous one. The writing, dialogue, and acting are all subpar. As I previously mentioned, I don't love this season, but it's a whole hell of a lot better than the first, and I think I'm actually starting to see some real potential with it. If you're able to lower your expectations, you'll be prepared to.
Okay, so I, in an effort to promote myself, need to make some of these, and I don't want to. And I don't know if why I don't want to is obvious, but I don't want to. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to. It's not like he said anything controversial, but I feel like he at the last minute stabbed him 3 or 4 times and then broke out. Like because he didn't. I don't know, man. Like, it wasn't well acted. Like you can say those things. That's fine, but I don't know what you mean. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm too much of a homer for storytelling. Like, if you're gonna tell me a story I want to hear, I'm not gonna be all like uppity about it, I guess. But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's probably doing a really good job of convincing you to go check out his stuff, which is the point of the short format. Which is why I'm like, damn, I gotta do what he just did, even because one, I can't even tell you I disagree with what he said because he didn't really go into it and he's not really supposed to. And also, he sort of like, it was like, okay, I didn't like the first season, but here is like something worth checking out more. I like the second season, not quite as, you know what I mean? Like, and also that is far from like hateful, like, you know, I have to go and find more stuff.
How do you mean changed?
It's like he's colder, quicker to anger.
Unbeknownst to Celebrimbor.
So
How do you mean changed?
It's like he's colder, quicker to anger. Now, they tell me he refuses to share the other rings unless the Dwarf Lords promise him half a share of their minds. Now, greed is not his way. It never has been. Is it possible? The ring he's wearing?
No. We used the same process, Durin, the same materials, even the same tools as for the three. Now, there simply cannot be a...
Unbeknownst to Celebrimbor, Sauron had woven Season 2 of the Ring. Unbeknownst to Celebrimbor, Sauron had woven a binding magic into the rings he taught the elves to craft. In secret, Sauron forged the One Ring, a master ring to control all the lesser rings and grant him dominion over Middle-earth. When Sauron placed the One Ring on his finger, the elves realized his true identity and intentions. Defiant, Celebrimbor and the elves of Eregion refused to give Sauron the rings. The three greatest rings had been forged by Celebrimbor alone, untouched by Sauron, making them uncorrupted, though still subject to the power of the One Ring. He sent these rings away for safekeeping. Vilya and Narya to Gil-galad in Lindon, and Nenya to Galadriel in Lorien. Enraged, Sauron attacked Eregion, devastating the land and capturing Celebrimbor. Under brutal torture, he revealed the location of the lesser rings, but refused to disclose where the three elven rings were hidden. He was ultimately killed, and his body used as a banner by Sauron's forces. Unbeknownst to Celebrimbor, Sauron had woven a binding magic into the rings. Season 2 of the Rings of Power has generally been praised for its darker, more complex narrative. And
what is the name of Frodo's sword?
Oh no, I know that.
I know. What is the...
Season 2,
If you're able to lower your expectations.
So, yeah, the general consensus stuff is always interesting to me. I just feel like it's the marketing machine of the movie industry eating its own hand, you know. Oh, and see, I think they didn't like it either. Let's see, Lord of the Rings episode. Yeah, Bella Dragon. Yeah, they didn't like it. They didn't like it either. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much more time looking for like rage bait, so I can show rage bait on my own show. So I think having someone pop on and ask a question about like racism was enough for me anyway. That was enough for me. So let's move on to our next topic. Let's see what we're doing here. Where are we? We are here. Oh, it's time for some terrible analysis. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Let's get rid of this. All right, now we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna go there, and look for directory there. And where are you? Aha. So, oh, perfect. That's perfect. That's the best picture to start off with. Can't see it. There you go. So I don't know if you've watched this yet, but it's so big. It's a big picture. I was watching almost all of the Netflix documentary on this dude here, Vince McMahon. And I don't know how many of these documentaries you've ever seen, but this particular subject tends to make for some interesting behind the scenes stuff. I have watched some fascinating documentaries about pro wrestling over the years. So, really quickly, I was a weird kid. And I lose viewers so fast. But really quickly, I was a weird kid. So, wrestling, like as a little kid, when it was Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and the Junkyard Dog, I could not quite understand what was happening. And I'm wondering, I hope it's not my audio, because I would like someone to pop on and say, I can't fucking hear you, because that would be awesome. But basically, I didn't get it. I thought, I was like, you can't do that. You can't body slam someone else and like the police don't show up. Like, what is this? I remember watching television and seeing like Junkyard Dog and Roddy Piper and all that stuff, and like going, nah, man, my mom, but nah, you can't commit crimes. That's, you know, I didn't know what assault was, but you couldn't do that, right? And then there was also the weird part that they also had like Saturday morning cartoons, and I couldn't understand where the line was as a little kid watching on television from home. I just didn't get it. So I didn't particularly care for wrestling even into high school and stuff. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but my Saturday morning was once like the last cartoon went off, I grabbed the basketball and went down the street to the park and we hooped it up all day, like so I just didn't really keep up with it. But when I got into college, it was during the Monday Night Raw, like The Rock and stuff like that. And it was kind of cool when I got old enough to kind of understand like all of it. And also I had some buddies who were into like ECW and stuff. And when you watch the Netflix documentary, while it's called McMahon and while it does get into a lot of like some of the like distasteful seedy stuff, like it's also a history because it's following him from the time it was his father's business, and then we're right now at the penultimate episode. Like we have one more to go, and as a casual observer of wrestling, I was deeply unaware of what is essentially what they're leading up to in this final episode. But when you watch a lot of they do a lot of documentaries. This documentary kind of covers a lot of that, and it kind of talks to a lot of those figures from those other documentaries. And so while I've never been able to really keep up with what's happening in wrestling, I've always thought that wrestling as a thing for people to be involved in was like super, super duper cool. But man, when you get to the end of episode 2 and you find out that, okay, so there's like this lady who was one of the performers, and she ends up suing WWE and Vince McMahon for SA. I think I'm not supposed to say the word. I watched videos and they're worried about being demonetized. I am not, but it is what it is. I'm probably going to have to figure that out eventually too. But basically, they're like, she sued, and he sued her and Geraldo Rivera for defamation. And you find out at the end of the episode that fool pulled a P. Diddy, like straight up. So 2 years after he sued her in Geraldo, he dropped the suit against him because essentially whatever she accused him of doing was way more truthful than his response was at the time. And then right before the statute of limitations was up on it or whatever, just like your boy and Cassie, he settled with that lady for like millions of dollars. So whatever awful thing she accused him of, Beretta did that shit. You know what I'm saying? And Netflix was kind of cold about just being like covering all this stuff and letting you see his take on it primarily. I believe they had footage of her talking about it, but I'm not 100% sure as I speak right now if they went back and they brought that lady to the present day of the interviews they were doing for everyone else and asked her. But yeah, at the end of the episode, they were like, "Oh, make no mistake, yeah, he did that shit," And it's kind of like you could have called the whole thing Vince McMahon. He did that shit because it's giving you, or at least the idea is, for all those other documentaries and all those other stories and all of the blurring of the lines between the real dude running an actual company and the character he created to be a part of the show, like this dude here, like Netflix is trying to show you that through line. And that's kind of hard to do. But what's weird is so many people are like participating. Like, so they got like The Rock to show up, John Cena to show up, and so on and so forth. And even though it's like, as much as Netflix is trying to be impartial, because of like the broad strokes, he's constantly being implicated in like some really negative stuff. It's kind of weird the amount of allegiance, that he gets from certain people. Like when you watch it, I mean, you can sort of understand because of how green the grass looks on their side of the fence to some degree, but then there's all this other stuff that is like, well, Jesus, man, And for years and years and years, I was one of those people who felt like, even though I wasn't like keeping up with it, that wrestling was like harmless television. And to a great degree, I mean, that's technically true. But one thing this documentary does is it shows you like how like irresponsible some of it was getting into the 90s in terms of where the line was and what they were doing. And like a lot of those guys, they keep constantly saying like, we just couldn't have done that now. And it's kind of surreal to feel like during the 90s that the wrestling shows were at least still, but then you realize when you look back at some of the things they were doing, no, we just had a different attitude about what was like no biggie. I'm looking at this bar for my audio and I'm like, this mic is probably not picking me up good. It's a shame, but it's okay. It's okay. Testing 5, 511. Because I keep getting people pop in, but then they leave, and I feel like if I was popping in and I couldn't hear anything, maybe I would say, hey, can you hear me? I can't hear you, bro. You talking, but I can't hear you. I don't know. I'm boring too, because both are trying to put you to sleep. But yeah, he pulled a Puffy. He pulled a Puff Daddy almost the same way, and I think that like a lot of these Netflix docs, it's gonna roll itself into like this year, because man, the plastic surgery that man has put his face through, his from the nose down looks like a butthole. It's whew, man. All right, let's see here. How are we doing? We are almost to an hour, and we're gonna get to the topic of the evening. And this is a topic that has been near and dear to me for quite some time. It's a bit of silliness that I refuse to let go of, and we're going to talk about it here. And so let's turn this sad slideshow off. I like how I got my slideshow game going a little bit better than last night, though. And we're going to go back to our, let's see here. First and foremost, there we go, okay. All right. So, this topic, to get us through the evening, we've talked about current events, we've combated racism through passive foolishness. And please, viewer, if you can hear me, just like give me a thumbs up or something like that. Let me know if you can hear me. Or did I turn off the chat? Because I had someone with some racism earlier, and I may have turned the chat off. I don't think I did, but I'm hoping you can hear me. Because if you can't, because someone asked me a question, so maybe they can hear me. They heard me enough to say racisms to me. So I mean, there's that. So hopefully you can hear me, viewer. But this is the foolish topic of the night. The bad opinions, the foolish reviews, the dumb stuff that you didn't come for, that you stumbled upon probably switching to your phone. If you're pooping right now, I hope it goes well for you. For real, for real. Okay, so the main topic of the night is I have always been fascinated with being essentially, for lack of a better term, knocked unconscious for money. Like, I think about Leon Spinks. and how much money he made. And that was amazing. The person was like, I am not listening to this anymore. That was perfect. That was beautiful. I'm not listening to this anymore. That was the very definition of doing something to entertain yourself and yourself only. But I'm serious about this. Like Leon Spinks trained for a certain amount of months or whatever, and was constantly given daily pep talks, rub downs, the whole 9 yards. They're like, Leon, you're the man. You're gonna go out there, and this young kid Mike Tyson, he don't know what he's signed up for. You were the champ, and he is the contender, and you're gonna go out there. You're the best, Leon Spinks. You're the absolute best. And he was like, I am. I'm serious about this. And that night he ran out there, and seconds later, he made a whole bunch of money. And that's the part I want to focus on. Is he worked out, got a bunch of pep talks, puffed up his ego, and then that to me is better than the lottery because you did work out. You did put in the work. You got the jumpers at the gym, and then it's like taking a shot. You just get in there and comply out. So the question is, like, who would be willing to like knock me out for like the purse? Like, so whatever the fight purse is, like it's, $7 million is the fight purse, and I get a bonus if I win, and I have to survive a certain amount of time, because I feel like there's a couple of ways to approach it. You could either, like, I watched a YouTube video about a UFC fighter who went to India and fought some fake fights to boost his record, and then got a contract to fight in the UFC where he was completely outmatched. But each time he shows up, they pay him. And so I immediately understand like that part of it. But it also seems like a lot of work. I feel like instead you need to trick, like, okay, I don't understand when dudes go online and talk about how they can fight better than insert professional fighter, and then they go to that professional fighter's location and get beat up for nothing. Get beat up, but make some money is all I'm saying. So let's see here. Right now, we're gonna search. We're gonna search right now and see. This is who is the number one heavyweight boxer in the world right now. And I feel like we're going to ask this question, and it is Anthony Joshua. That's who I thought it was. I don't follow boxing super close, but I'm aware. Now, let's see here. Anthony Joshua. We're going to grab that guy's name here. He's a WBC champion. Let's see what this guy's all about. He is British. See, that guy right there would knock you out immediately. And he's British, so he would be kind of like polite about it too. It would sound almost nice. 34 years old. He's about 11 years younger than me or whatever. Still, like, boop, knock you right out. Like, if the thing is, I don't know how to like get that guy's attention enough, and I feel like I don't have a pedigree enough to like like get him to like really actually knock me out for money. See, that's the linchpin. It's like I don't want to just like, you guys saw when who was that? Frank Bruno beat that guy up in front of the nightclub. Like, what the hell is that? That guy got beat up for free. Frank Bruno is a prize fighter. He fights for prizes, So I'm thinking like I don't want to work out. I don't want to like train, but I do want the money. So my whole thing is, what is the email or letter I send that results in like a fight date, promotions, lights, cameras, and a paycheck because then like it's worth it. Because I mean, I don't care. I lost a viewer. I don't care. And see, all I need is the viewer to be like, I'm done. I'm out. Zzz. And it worked. Okay. So so this topic didn't have the legs. Because like this is one of those things where it's like is this really funny? Or is this really something you can really think about for a long period of time? And the answer is probably not. But I have really thought about this to a certain degree. Because it's either like, okay, like the reason I keep looking at like heavyweights is because I am technically a heavyweight dude. He's 245 pounds. Like that's probably either where the weight he fights at or like his walking around weight. Either way, I'm 20 pounds heavier than that guy. So it's not like he's picking on someone like, you know what I mean? Technically speaking, I would have to cut weight in order for that dude to punch me one time and like lay me out on the carpet. Like I'd have to like work out for like 6 months just to be in shape enough for that dude to punch me out my shoes. And that just seems like, why bother? Like I feel like if I can word an email with the proper like keywords, he's like, you know, we need to book an arena so I can punch this dude really, really hard in the face. Like that's what I'm going for. Because like the other option are nightmare people. Like think about this. Anthony Joshua, big giant dude, young. His fist is as big as my face. I wouldn't even remember nothing, and you could just wake me up with money, like ready to go. Look at look at a bantamweight champion. Bantamweight champion, right? Who is the champion of bantamweight right now? It is this dude right here. This is even more terrifying. This isn't the bantamweight. Okay, wait. Here we go. WEC. That's in 2024. I can't even tell. Okay, well, let's just look at this guy right here. This guy right here. You mean to tell me that you would rather I think I saw this guy before. You would rather let this guy beat on you? I'm not saying I would fare better. I would fare far worse. And that's the thing. Like, he might knock me out with one punch, but I think he might not. And if he doesn't, then what do we do? See what I'm saying? Anthony Joshua, sleeps Phil. It's over. That guy, he punches me once, and I'm like, please, sir, don't punch me again. But he's like, you signed up for this. You know what it's like? What about Bob? See, like, Anthony Joshua is the immediate payday. But this guy here, I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you, Mr. Mayrab. I can't pronounce your last name. But that's the what about Bob ending, where he's punching you several times in the face and you finally fall asleep, but then you are so hurt after that you spend a third of your money to like fix all the damage he's done to you, because he probably has knockout power, but I'm just so fat that it's just like he would need to really get that angle. And if I flinched, I gotta be alive for longer, like, or at least awake for longer, and that's not gonna work, you know, like, and I don't even know what the email is even like for this dude to, like, he might have to kick me. And see, then again, like, if he kicked me in the head, I might die. So, like, what am I asking for? One is a free $1 million payday for just, like, chin. The other one, like, this dude might, like kill me, because it's like because he's smaller and therefore more wiry. No, I need something like yeah, that first guy. And then then there's like the celebrity options. Like okay, I keep thinking about this. Like, why not? What if this dude agreed to, like, see, that's the picture right there. Like, what if that dude agreed to be like, dude, I'll knock you out for $7 million. All you gotta do is show up. I'm like, yes. The thing is, though, he wouldn't do it. I don't think I could convince him to do it. I don't think there's a strongly worded email or letter enough to where that guy, would like, because one, there is no upside. It's not just a challenge. The whole thing is I'm unwilling to get into shape. So then he would automatically be disappointed. Like, wait, what is this? Like then like the unwillingness to get into shape, and like also it's, what he would do? He would say, I will do this for charity. And then I would have to explain that how come I can't be the charity? And, yeah, so like, yeah, I think like the closest I could get, maybe would have been like 5 years ago. Jake Paul, maybe would have knocked me out for money if I could have convinced him that I was an actual boxer. Like, I think that 5 years ago, with the right, like, yeah, Jake Paul might have knocked me unconscious for money. And not money for them, but money for me. Because, like, that's why you don't see panhandlers with signs saying, $5, knock me out. What was that? There was a movie or something where that happened, where a guy went down to like the slums and paid a homeless guy to just take a beating. Like that's kind of what I'm suggesting, but I feel like the thing is, what I'm really getting paid for is the same, is like the basis of reality TV. It would be the public humiliation of getting knocked out. My perspective is that I would not remember the whole thing. Like with any luck, if Joe Rogan was the person I convinced to knock me out so that I got some money, like I'm not paying for it. I'm getting paid to experience it or not experience it, depending on how you look at it. But the ideal experience would be that first I saw like this, and then there was like a ring sound for a flash, and then I saw this like the next morning. How long it would take me to wake up? Like it would be like, "Are you ready?" No, bink, and then I would like, and then like half my face is a mess, and I got like stuff to bleeding from my nose, and he would be so relieved because they had been trying to revive me for hours, and he just like, because he was like thinking to himself, maybe one punch won't do it, so he kicked me in the head, and like that's what I'm thinking would have happened, like that's how it would have gone down, and then I would have like recovered on the show, constantly asking where I was and how I came to be there, and like that's like to me the most ideal way to get knocked out for money. And there you have it. So I shaved about 12 minutes off my show's runtime. And I had more fun tonight than I did yesterday. And I had a racism today. So that's interesting too. I am pretty convinced that the audio levels for this episode are really, really low, and it's hard to hear me, and that people who popped in were nice enough to pop in but couldn't hear me, and I kind of wish someone would have, said something in the chat like, "Dude, I can't hear you," but that's okay. I mean, that tonight's episode was interesting. Yeah, the promotion is going to be a challenge. I have not really been on top of really anything in a while. It's been slow motion. So even at like my most active, I wasn't like killing the game. And yeah, so I mean, we're really gonna see. I have time yet. And like, truth be told, I'm kind of hoping that the Veil Guard itself will help me draw attention to the cause. You know, because I'm going to play the game regardless. But it would be nice to, while I'm playing it, to, you know, raise money. And so I have a couple of ideas, but like the trick is to get it to where people understand that you're not trying to promote for anything else. But the thing about that is, like, it gets a little sad if you're like, I want to raise X amount of dollars for this charity, you know, and then you don't get any traction right away. It's tough, and then you know you don't want to like stop because you know what I mean. So I gotta figure something out, you know. I do. But also, like, this won't be the thing. I'm working on a podcast for me and a couple of buddies of mine, and I'm learning a lot about, like, how to use this program, the Streamlabs program. I think it'll do what I need it to do, but I gotta get a few more things kind of squared away. This is mostly about being comfortable sitting here and hoping that, like, on an audio level, like, this is a loud enough, you know, a loud enough volume to speak at and for the mic to pick it up. And so I'm hoping and really, really hoping that this is working out audio-wise, because I can't do the headset. Man. But we'll see. But I ate up all that extra time I bought. I had fun talking about getting knocked out for money. I don't give a fuck. I had a blast. So tomorrow, I don't know. I think there's some TV show to talk about. Also, yeah, that's it. And then after the weekend, because man, I was so tired today and I had stuff to do. I didn't get it done. After the weekend, like, I may not be here Monday for this. I may be back Friday. Like, I feel like that just might be a better way to do a more quality thing. To develop some segments I think are cool. Things worth checking out. Things where the audio levels and, like, people who are popping in at different times, it's interesting at different times, you know? But, yeah. I'm going to call it here, and we will try this again tomorrow, and maybe we'll get someone to stick around longer than a few seconds. Thanks for checking out the stream, and have a good night.